You're watching Rurouni K95's anime review on Samurai Hunt for the Sword. Hi Ruronis, this is your pal Rurouni K95 here. Today's anime review, we get to cover another anime OVA, which is very obscure once again for today's anime review, especially the ones that were released on DVD by Media Blasters, particularly for today's anime review, is Samurai Hunt for the Sword. Samurai Hunt for the Sword is basically a two-episode anime OVA, which was premiered in 1999. And yes, this was based on a Japanese video game, particularly for this anime as well. Yeah. And this is particularly how the plot tells about of Samurai Hunt for the Sword. Is this anime is particularly tells about Shinjuro may be a little young to be the master of a swordsmanship school, but fate didn't give him any choice. Now his position and martial art skills land him right in the middle of serious trouble from out of nowhere. When the rogue samurai Mikage faces off against the Tokugawa government, Mikage has his eyes on the legendary sword known as Mizuchi and is willingly to destroy all of Edo to get it. Caught in the middle, Shinjuro and the band of beautiful swordsmen who train at his school must protect the town from harm. However, they won't really be challenged until the Tokugawa house calls in a favor, and the young swordsman is forced to duel with Mikage himself. His opponent will be using the most powerful weapon Japan has ever seen. But if the swordsman can't stop fighting over Shinjiro long enough to cheer him on, then the boy samurai is sure to win. So that's how the plot tells about for an anime OVA like Samurai Hunt for the Sword. And Wikipedia is useless as usual, but the good thing that makes sense, you could find the plot particularly on either the back of your DVD if you have a copy of Samurai Hunt for the Sword, or you could read the plot on it on Anime News Network, which you could basically find any information about an obscure anime OVA out there. As many was to these other obscure anime, whether it's a movie, TV show, or an OVA in general, particularly of how one of the things about how they made Samurai Hunt for the Sword when it was adapted from a video game. This is particular a OVA that is obscure that anyone has heard of or hasn't heard in general. Technically, as how this has became of how what this anime OVA was directed by the Japanese director. I forgot. Oh yes, I think this is particularly how. Oh yes, I forgot. Now I remembered. Or this, yeah, the English dub was done by the work at Anime Works, yeah, which is basically, which is part of Anime Works, which is Media Blaster's sub label for anime. And yes, this OVA series, Samurai Hunt for the Sword, is basically directed by Masahiro Sekino as yes, now I remembered. And it's done by the company Triple P Productions, which is known for their work on Robot Carnival, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure OVA, and Project A-ko as well. Yes, this anime OVA was made by the same company that brought you Project A-ko, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure OVA, and Robot Carnival, and yeah, many of as among to these other anime titles that are made by the same company as well. And yes, this is how they came across a story as well, because this is the part of the reason why how I never got into Artemis Fowl. P.S. Artemis Fowl is a piece of shit movie. Anyways, so heading back to what I was mentioning about Samurai Hunt for the Sword, however, Samurai Hunt for the Sword was a blind buy for me, even though very little impressed, or could be considered an exciting, not a waste of time. I mean, the plot has been intrigued from dozens of other anime series in general. A thieving samurai faction has discovered where a magically endowed sword hilt is located and is determined to make this dojo their next hit. If it was that easy enough, they would have been able to overthrow the reigning government officials without competition. However, a young samurai named Shinjiro has recently promoted headmaster to his samurai dojo, will not idly sit by and let the evil doings of his rival samurai go without the opposition, which is something what is going on in Samurai Hunt for the Sword, technically. The dojo which Shinjiro, our local hero, heads is the composed of his elder sister, a childhood friend, and mysterious girl from China who claims she is the daughter of a friend of Shinjiro's father. None of these samurai girls have anything more than a familiar with the sword, and are certainly no threat to a skilled wielder. The enemy faction is composed of a former student of Shinjiro's father, and a rogue martial arts expert, and who is a dead set on overthrowing the head of the state. Of all of the characters, Shinjiro and Mahoro, who is the rogue samurai, seem to be the most skilled, but the balance is swayed with the addition of Shinjiro's father's former student, whose names eludes me right now. 2 against 1. So, do you think that happens next? Shinjiro's father miraculously shows up to even the teams. Didn't see that one coming. However, now that our hero won't be pitted against the two equally strong foe, he can focus completely on annihilating the ultimate threat, Mahoro, as well, that you see in Samurai Hunt for the Sword. The convenient plot almost hastily put together to ensure everything work out for the good guys, and because of it lacks anything even close to the original idea. I mean, don't expect to be dazzled with plot twists or suspenseful moments. On the bright side, though, for a two-part OVA, however, the story is never rushed. It takes time quickly to introduce characters, further the story, and ends on a high note. Very few stories as short as they can say that. Yeah, because at least the anime OVA Samurai Hunt for the Sword was never adapting 2 episodes as a movie, almost kind of like a director, if it was needed to be a director's uncut, particularly. Like, almost like if they would have done with Samurai X Reflection or Trust and Betrayal, technically. I mean, what is it with obscure OVAs? Because that is the real question. Is because just because that the anime OVA Samurai Hunt for the Sword is technically based on a Japanese video game and only 2 episodes, for your standard anime OVA that only has 2 episodes, as it was to many other anime OVAs in general at the same time. As how the real question is, what you expect to see, what is going on. As for the characters, Shinjiro is a believable lead. He is the only son to a skilled samurai, a student in his father's dojo, and was given the title of headmaster upon his farther departure. With a few well-timed fight scenes prior to his final match with Mahoro, we, the audience, were able to witness his superior skills as the samurai. Thus, when he was forced to battle a more experienced warrior, we knew he was not completely outmatched. He is, I believe, obviously a man of honor, and will help those that he deems to be weaker than himself, without a second thought for his own well-being. But though he has grown with the skills of an adult, when it comes to the sword, he is just an adolescent boy when it comes to being around pretty girls. Mahoro, who is the enemy samurai, was never given enough time to develop as a reasonable bad guy. If they want to write down the character plot lines for any certain character for a Samurai Hunt for the Sword, particularly for this OVA as well. What is he that he wants to overthrow the government? What has the government done to that has tipped this man over to the dark side? Almost like how he turned evil. I think there may have been a quick explanation near the end of the series about a rivalry, but if so, if it was not noteworthy of remembrance, very perceptive as well, from out of the blue. I mean, discovering how he became an expert swordsman or he trained under either, regardless, his story, he suited the bad guy role fine and was certainly dead set in his goal. I mean, with the quality of the art throughout the series, the characters themselves all look great, though it's completely unoriginal, if and it was particularly needs to be intended to be original OVA without having no obscurity, which something if Wikipedia needs to write the whole plot about for Samurai Hunt for the Sword, technically. The girl were very cute, their outfits appropriately yet tantalizing. The male cast also looked very good, especially Shinjiro's father. He had an extremely unique style to him and wore a messy beard that I was very fond of. Plenty of an attention to detail was evident regarding the background of cell animation, especially during more intense moments. These usually took place either at dusk or dawn, either night or day, and the very vibrant use of reds, oranges, and yellows captured the true beauty of the time period, which is almost to the extent like Rurouni Kenshin at this period as well. The best part of the series, however, in my opinion, was not the cute girls or the final fight scenes or the samurai beards. Nope, it was the boob humor, which is almost not in a good way, but just very awkward as well. Which is basically quite fond of the childish antics that involve around any situational foolery. Shinjiro accidentally grabs a girl's breast while fighting, which is probably not in a good way, which is which is probably perverted in a bad way. Tells the wrong person about it and never lives it down. He may becomes the butt of the very impressive and a long-running joke for the duration of the series, which is almost a pain in the butt for an OVA like Samurai Hunt for the Sword. It has been done before many a time over for the as a good recommendation of the potential show. If you like the samurai series and anime in general, this will not be a complete waste of time. It has a great structure, decent fight scenes, and somewhat believable characters. The art is managed nicely, the music suits the mood well, and the humor is lowbrow yet very enjoyable. If, however, you like to be blown away with an epic series given vast amounts of character development and enjoy a meaningful dialogue, you might want to skip over this series. If you want either that, or if you can rewatch this OVA of how you want to appreciate this anime, like you want to rewatch it, especially if you have it on DVD as well. Come to think of it, my anime review, particularly on Samurai Hunt for the Sword, is getting a lot better than my dreadful movie review on Nobody's Fool with Paul Newman, which it all has got to me in the past as well. I mean, this is the part of how to explain, given in the title, to explain what it is about Samurai Hunt for the Sword, and that is the reason why I despised the movie Artemis Fowl. But anyways, if you want to see a samurai anime OVA series that only has 2 episodes, give Samurai Hunt for the Sword a watch because it's available on DVD. I know it's not available on Blu-ray, but pretty soon, Media Blasters would relicense this for a Blu-ray release like Samurai Hunt for the Sword in high definition quality for a 2 episode OVA. So that's going to be it for my anime review on Samurai Hunt for the Sword for today's anime review. Thank you for watching, but before we go, here's my thoughts on this. I mean, the fight scenes were decent. I thought they were almost action-packed part in this OVA like this. I know Wikipedia has... This is something that Wikipedia doesn't even actually know for Samurai Hunt for the Sword, unless you can read the plot on it on Anime News Network. If you haven't seen this anime OVA, give Samurai Hunt for the Sword for a watch as well. Hope subscribe for content. My anime plan link in the description down below. You can share this video on your Twitter and Facebook if you have Twitter and Facebook account and all social media. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up by clicking on the like button on this video. Feel free to leave in the comments in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, RurouniK95. Feel free to join my channel, especially if you're new to my channel. Hit the notifications bell button. Keep it otaku for this anime review, and I got another anime review coming up next. Stay tuned for my next anime review. I got another anime that I haven't reviewed from the 70s, once again for tomorrow's anime review on Invincible Superman Zambot 3. Stay tuned for my next anime review on Invincible Superman Zambot 3, because you won't want to miss another anime review.